Hi guys. Today we are with Jeff, the leader of outstanding project OnSolve, the man behind very important preparedness solution, and that's could be, let's say, something very simple, but something that makes the whole story about my life or life of anybody connected with OnSolve different. And sometimes getting the right message at the right time, getting the right strategy at the right time, right on time, could change the future. And today we will talk about the OnSolve, the project I truly highly admire, and it's more than 2 decades of development. And today we will try to, let's say, explain how many changes done with the help of the people like Jeff Stauffer for thousands and thousands of people around the world. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you very much. And so, look, when you look at OnSolve, think about it as it's simply a SaaS solution. So the good news is, from the people in leadership or in the local communities that want to administrate or any type of communications, they're simply going into a web browser, right? And within 2 or 3 clicks, they could potentially be sending out critical or mass communication to those affected people. And then those people can receive it with about a dozen different modalities. They can receive it on their email, their smartphone, SMS, right? And it could be as simple as a local Tulum community message, or it can be as severe as there's a hurricane 30 miles off the Yucatan Peninsula that's approaching. Here's our shelter-in-place rendezvous point. Are you okay? Do you need a different assistance? Press 1 if you're okay, press 2 if you need additional assistance. And then OnSolve also has what we call risk intelligence. So it goes across 32 different sectors. It's crime, it's weather, it's geopolitical, it's terrorism. And so we're looking at all of your locales, your people, places, and things, and anything affecting you from a risk standpoint, you can be notified in near real time. And then again, using our mass communication, you can send a message 1 way or 2 way across multiple modalities to your community. So
got it. So
at a very high level, that is OnSolve.
So as I understand, it's not just ability to send that message, but make sure that the person actually receives that advice and making some actionable steps. And in case we have understanding that the message is not delivered, or something is going on with that man, we could, let's say, double check, triple check with different type of channels. And that's very important, because Elmas land community, not only offline community sitting in all of our hotspots like Elmas eco villages, but we have online community. And our idea is to be prepared for any type of disaster. I'm personally, as a Latvian, visiting, let's say, a conference in Ukraine. Lviv was under the heavy bombing. So yeah. It's ability to know something. Yes, we could expect something like that, but nobody actually really expected all of that mess. And let's face it, if we talk about Europe right now, nobody right now in Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania could actually, let's say, be prepared for something strange going on. And if they have an ability, if they have a some sort of device, or we know we have some channels to deliver that message that they need to evacuate in that precise order. And if we have, as an Elmas community, have our personal, let's say, concierge, we are helping our members to evacuate. We have some sort of subscription, whatever. But if we have some sort of strategy for our people, that will help our people to be very efficiently, let's say, resync their strategy and get the message right on time. I mean, not let's say after 30 minutes, after 1 hour, but immediately. And know that we have that special channel with immediate messaging, immediate critical messaging, and they know they could, let's say, trust that source of information, because that information could be life or death type of information. By the way, I have asked you before our stream, before our interview, about how many people during your career, during all of the decades were saved by your solution. How many people actually, do you know that?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we've been in business almost 30 years. We literally defined the mass communication space 30 years ago. I believe we're sending 1.2 billion, with a B, billion messages a year for our clients. I would have to look at the slide, but I think we've actually saved 70,000 lives over the course of those 28 years. So some really cool stats. And then just because I've been in this space for so long, and I've worked with special forces and CIA and FBI that are, product experts and industry experts. The one thing that I always look at is, it's one thing to get the message out, right? But it's really closing that gap. And I'm going to make up numbers because I don't know your numbers in Tulum, for example, right?
Yes, yes.
But say you have 3,000 people in Tulum, and there is a hurricane coming in, and you send out a mass notification to those 3,000 people. And again, it's a two-way communication. So one, yes, I received the message. Two, I need additional help. Say 2,970 people say, yes, I got the message. I understand the rendezvous point. We're okay.
Yes.
So I don't mean this to be glib, but like, in a way, I almost want now, as a risk management perspective, I need to almost forget about those 2,970 people that say I'm okay. And now my entire focus is on those 30 people. Have they not responded because they didn't get the message? Their laptop and cell is dead. They're in harm's way. And so from a risk management perspective, for the next 8 hours, my entire focus is on those 30 people. And so that's what I love about this, is you have that full audit trail within your local community to really, it's all hands on deck of like, right, like we need to account for these 30 people and make sure they're out of harm's way. So wow. that I mean, just because I've been in the space, and again, it's about mitigating risk. And look, I know this is like tongue in cheek when I say this, but even little things, right? Like I vacation every year with my family in the Cancun, Tulum area. And we fly into Cancun and we stop at Costco and we fill up with all of our food. And then at least 1 out of every 3 years, we get stopped on the highway, right, at a police checkpoint. I mean, you guys could even send a message like, hey, FYI, there's a police checkpoint. What is that? Highway 307, I forget. But like you could even use it for non-critical communication that just enhances the life of your community, right? It doesn't always have to be, there's a hurricane 30 miles off the coast, right?
Got it. You said that your AI agent delivers fast, accurate, and relevant intelligence, so people could make a proactive decision. Could you tell us more about the AI? Maybe it's machine learning or something even more complicated, but still explain how that AI actually improve the critical mass communication and, let's say, preparedness.
All right, so tell me if I get too deep in the weeds here, okay? I'll try to answer your question and keep it at a working level here. Is when I got into this space 12 years ago, there would be situations where there would be an event and you would get a risk intelligence alert saying, hey, Jeff, this is occurring, but I would be in Paris, France, but it would alert me, I would get an alert in Paris, Ohio. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the AI machine learning wasn't advanced enough, right? And so I think where OnSolve has gone with the technology is we are using AI and machine learning to, we only want to give you the alerts that are affecting your geolocation, right? Like where you're actually at, right? Because there's nothing more annoying than when you're in Paris, France, and that's a bad example, but you get my point, and you're getting alert for Paris, Ohio. And then what it also does is it causes the end user to start avoiding the alerts because they're getting so many false positives, right? Which is we don't want that, right? And so you're only going to get alerts across our 32 categories. Again, crime, weather, geopolitical, terrorism, COVID, for your locations, right? And so if you have a community member living in Tulum, they're not going to get an alert for Acapulco unless you're maybe a super user and you want to see every alert affecting all your communities. So that's the secret sauce about the AI machine learning that would be important to you.
So it's very precise, highly targeted, highly targeted, let's say, notifications. I got it. I get the logic behind that solution. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's. I don't. Okay. Got it. We basically pre-answered most of my questions during.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, tell us please about the story of the project, about the first years of that project, and about your team, how you, let's say, connect all the outstanding professionals and create that outstanding team to work together and build that project. Could you explain us the necessities you have, you facing during the development of that project, and how you build it, creating that product with 10,000, 20,000 of users. How many companies are already using it?
So I believe we're like at 29,000 organizations across the globe, and I believe we're in 192 countries around the globe.
Wow.
And so when you think about technology companies, especially out of the US, you either grow organically, right, over the years, or you're growing organically and then you do a lot of acquisitions. OnSolve, I would say over the first 20 years, we grew organically, and then lately, maybe over the last 10 years, we had some acquisitions. And so now what we've done over the last 3 years is put all those acquisitions together in a platform, right? A SaaS platform that goes across risk intelligence, mass communication, and incident management. And so, like myself, I've been in the space 12 years. We have a lot of like CIA, FBI people that have brought their intelligence to our. I think we have over 23-letter organizations in the U.S. government that use us for either troop or military type stuff. And so and here's why I'm mentioning all this, from a scalability, from a security standpoint, I want you guys to know, right? Like some of the largest global or US military organizations are using us and trust us they trust us to securely their data or the scalability across 190 organizations. And then I mentioned we're a SaaS platform. We run on AWS, so the 99.9999 uptime is there.
Got it. But let's talk about your team, how it was built, and who is a part of your team, who is actually behind all of that project, and the brightest minds, and who is creating, because it's very important to understand, let's say, that the brightest minds behind that type of solutions.
Yeah, and so like I mentioned, we've been around 28 years. We have what I love about our organization when we talk about ramping a new client up, our support organization, we have um, they average about 8 to 10 years, right? Tenure. So you're going to be in good hands there. From our leadership perspective, our CEO, all of our leadership has been in the company multiple years. And again, I talked about, either government AI analysts or former special ops are involved in our product strategy. So I think from a tenure perspective, you're in really good hands. And again, I think 28 years and 29,000 clients in 190 plus countries speaks to that.
Okay, let's talk about some, let's say, outstanding cases when, let's say, GSM is not working, when Wi-Fi is not working and no internet connections. Do you have any, let's say, LoRa or something else, some long fee, whatever, message delivery strategy? Do you have any ability to deliver that message during some sort of partly or completely blackouts? What do you think about that? Do you have any, let's say,
yeah, so I'm working with a client in the States here that they're in about 90 countries globally. Not everyone has a smartphone. They're worried about maybe, internet outages or cell phone outages. And so when I talk about we can deliver messages in multi-modalities, I think that's exactly what I mean is, so again, we can send it to any email, we can send it SMS, we can voice call you, we can do text to voice, we can integrate with digital signage. There's about 12 different modalities, right? So at some point, you need some type of mechanism to be able to deliver that message. And what I like about this from a administrative standpoint, there's no coding. It's literally dragging and dropping the modality of like,
right.
I want this to occur first, this second, this third, and the message will keep going through its protocols. And so if this one times out or if this one's offline, it'll go to the second one. It'll go to the third one until that message is delivered.
Wonderful. So we could, let's say, create our own strategy, let's say our own communication strategy for our client base, for all of our Elmas community, and let's say add some, let's say, our personal touch. I mean, creating some personal responsibilities regarding some evacuation. For example, we have our own fleet, we have our own jets in Europe, etc. So we could add some very beautiful steps along the road of the evacuation, and we could create, let's say, that notification service with your help, with the help of OnSolve. Wonderful. So it just the beauty, the true beauty of that solution, and it feels like that if so many big, let's say, agencies actually rely on you, it should be proven. I don't know, maybe they just improve their data, or they, let's say, or taking only your data as a first and one and only, let's say, decision-making, let's say, data. But I'm sure that even if you are working with so many government agencies, you've gone through so many questions, so many problems already solved, that we don't need to think about all of that for the next decade. That's
now, yeah, and I think you bring up a great point. I think you guys will have some unique attributes, right? So it's not a one size fits all, right? That implementation is going to be geared towards you. Typically, if you look across our clients, it's about a month from start to go live. So only a month, right? This isn't I used to work at Oracle. It's not a 24-month, go live. And then if you do have private jets or things like that, those are things we can also take in that information, whether it's an alert or communication, again, the geolocation of those. I just want to mention that. And then I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but there are, we have a very open API integration. So if there's unique things like, let me give you an example. A lot of times in corporate America, when an event happens, and say it's a very, like a big event, like let's say a hurricane off the Yucatan Peninsula, a lot of times they will want to rev up an incident management team. And so through OnSolve, you can immediately put a team in place, an incident management team in place with either a Microsoft Teams or a Zoom call. And so you can automatically bring that conference bridge into the workflow. And again, assign maybe a small group of people to make sure, right? So there's nuances here. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but I just wanted to get your gears turning of where this could go.
Yeah, got it. So it's definitely a risk management solution. I mean, it's not like just notification or SMS mass SMS messaging solution. It's first of all, it's all about that, let's say, pipeline, all of that ability. Means that workflow of critical workflow. Wow. Just could you tell us more about code red emergency alerts? What does it mean, code red? Because I have that as a question.
And so when I talked about there's two models. You either grow organically, in Silicon Valley over the years, or you start off growing organically and then you acquire. So Code Red was a company we acquired. They're part of the platform. And then Code Red, it was US centric based. And they integrated with some US emergency alerting systems, like a missing child in the US, like the Amber Alerts. And so that's what that means. Like you can automatically be notified of things like that.
Got it. So basically what we have with OnSolve, we have a lot of critical data regarding, let's say, our location. So the people living in Elmas land, for example, we have some eco villages in Tulum, and also in we'll get it in Acapulco. They will get that, a lot of very important information regarding their surroundings, and they are making. They could be sure that that information will be delivered right on time or maybe for the leaders of the community. Or we have special strategies for every type of let's say disaster we could face it here or anywhere on earth, because let's say we have a lot of clients, we have a lot of let's say community members in Europe, and now we know how to deliver that critical messaging, how to, let's say, manage, let's say, their evacuation process, how we could help them with all of that. Thank you so much. It just outstanding communication. I couldn't believe, to be honest, that the solution like yours actually exist, because I have seen a lot of things. I was working with special services in Latvia, etc. And sometimes I know what is a movie reality, like movie reality, and what's real.
Right.
So I know exact level of preparedness of let's say local police in Latvia, for example. And I know that sometimes part of their preparedness, it's like they reading that
and look, I think there's things where we're not this big brother satellite thing that's going to see everything happening in the globe, right? We think we're pretty good, but we're not going to see everything. But there's also things like where you have a very strong community, right? And so on the mobile app, we have something where we say, see something, say something. And there's literally with one touch, you can report and you can define the process to your leadership in Tulum. I see something, say something, like something is not right. And you can report an incident, and then again, whatever your proper protocol or process is, you can define that. And so it's not just top down; it's really from bottom up too.
For me, our meeting is like It's like Christmas.
right,
because yes, because it's one of the most important components of our strategy. Right now, we do realize that we should work with you as fast as possible. We do realize that it's just just one of the most important component of what we are willing to build here in at Elmas land. Thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful conversation. I hope we will have the next meeting soon, and we will discuss some details relating the top-down and from the bottom-up approach just for our community. Maybe we will present the first, let's say, solution built for our community. Thank you for that conversation. I'm honestly very happy about that conversation and about everything it's possible to do with OnSolve. It just real emotions.
Well, good, and I sincerely appreciate on behalf of OnSolve in our community. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and your community, and I look forward to the next step.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.